Good evening, everybody, and hello to Jessper. Jessper and I'm welcoming to the Warrior Cymru Cafe today. We were in Padapalooza and technology through the cubes, but we got together today so that we can do his interview and bring his shining light. So, welcome to the Warrior Cymru Cafe podcast, Jessper. So good to see you here. So tell everybody where you're coming from today.
Bethan, hello from Los Angeles. It is great to be back.
Great stuff. Now, Jessper does a lot of leadership, and the last time I just got a little bit fraction of who he is. But he's going to give you some shining nuggets today and just give you a little bit of insight of what he does and what the magic he brings into the world. So it's over to you, Jessper. So tell people a little bit about what you do.
Thank you, Bethan. So let me tell you how I entered the world of company culture. And there was a memory that my mother had shared about me. And I couldn't even remember that moment, but she did share that memory a couple of years ago. And she told me that when I was maybe about 5 years old, maybe 6 years old, I had told her, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a leader. When I grow up, I want to be a leader." Now, when you think about it, that's a really neat idea, but coming from a 5 or 6 year old, what does a 5 or 6 year old know about leadership? It's it's an advanced topic for someone that age. I might as well have said, "Mom, when I grow up, I'd like to study macroeconomics." It's these advanced topics that just come to mind at such a young age. You're wondering, wow, how did that come about? But I'm realizing over time, as I was growing up, just different leadership opportunities were falling into my lap. And at a young age, I was always encouraged to serve the community, volunteer for nonprofits, really help the nonprofit world, and put in volunteer hours. As I went into college, I served as a new orientation leader, and I served in the student government, where I was just given more opportunities to learn about leadership and really apply what I've learned. And then after graduating, I had landed a career in the hospitality industry. I was quickly promoted to a supervisory position where I was given the opportunity to lead my own team firsthand.
Yeah.
And thank you.
So
Thank you.
great. See,
So
there's already a golden nugget, people. The opportunities come and shine, and you can grab those. So we've already, already into this early stage of our interview, have been given golden nuggets. So tell us more.
absolutely. And then in my first, again, back to my first job, I was given that opportunity to really give that space to my employees to share what was on their mind. And we just found ways to do new things, build out new processes, systems, you name it. After a couple of years, I was just so inspired by what I was doing. I decided to go back to school and get my executive master's degree in leadership. And then I continued to learn best practices. And after graduating from that, I landed into a management development program for a Fortune 500 company. So I was given that opportunity to peek in to a larger organization, just see the inner workings, and just based on my leadership journey as a whole, it's really given me an opportunity to learn what leadership is and how I can serve others. So taking all the best practices that I've collected along my experiences, I decided to put everything together, and it inspired me to help leaders and managers build stronger teams, and that's what brings me into the world of company culture.
So that's your passion, and I love that because I've been a leader for a long time. I was a Queen's Guide. I started at 7 in Brownies Guides, Rangers, and I took the leadership, and I'd done leadership programs as well, and learned about managing practices and that. And there's so many youngsters that we're hearing today about I've just been on Sandy Austin's summit, learning about young people with leadership and that. And it's so important, isn't it, to get those skills in early so that we can see the great futures leaders and that. So if I was to ask you to give 3 golden nuggets to these, future leaders and that, what would you suggest to them?
That's an excellent question, especially just gaining leadership at a young age, because there's just so many things to learn about leadership, so many moving pieces, just so much in that field that it offers and we can offer to it. So, the first golden nugget that I'd like to share is embrace the sense of purpose, because what I'm seeing from younger leaders, it's our why is really what inspires us to really reach new heights. When we know what the project, idea, or program stands for, it really lights the fire within us. So the first part is the why. The second golden nugget I'd like to share is listen to others and give your team members the space to really share what they have in mind. Because if a leader is closed off to ideas, you're only going to get stuck with one perspective, and one perspective never ends up very well. And 3, it's to be intentional about connecting with your team members. In today's world where we're seeing more hybrid, more remote workers, there's this rising feeling of isolation and this sense of disconnection. I really encourage leaders to really make that time to reach out to a team member and check in, not just to check in on progress with tasks, but check in and say, Bethan, how are you doing? Haven't heard from you in a couple of whiles. I want to see how your day is going.
Isn't it
absolutely.
important to, especially when people are at home, and obviously we're, like the world is talking about World Suicide Day, it's the highest thing, as we know, and bullying in schools and all sorts that are happening and that. And I suddenly realised on being on this event that I was bullied in school, because I'd been in a private school and then I went to a high school and in the workplace. And when we're leaders of the future, I suddenly realised today that, I actually have been through all this, and I've used my leadership skills, and really think about that now, how I've used my leaderships in my workplace. So reaching out to people. So if people want to reach out to you, how's the best place to get in touch with you? Because that's really important, listeners, to reach out to Jessper so that he can help you in your organization, or whether you're actually working with people who are remote workers. So tell people how they can contact you.
Absolutely. So the first way is through my website, familyconsulting.com. You can go there and contact me directly. Along in my website, I offer a complimentary assessment called the Behavioral Elements program, and that gives you an understanding of your leadership style based on the 4 elements. That's fire, earth, water, and air. And a brief overview. The fire element, these are the leaders who are driven by competition. They're driven by winning. They're driven by being number one. When you give them a sales goal, for example, let's say, Bethan, you come up to me and say, Jessper, I'd like you to make 100 sales calls. As a fire, I'd say, Bethan, just 100? I can make 200 phone calls. Make it 250.
I want to do that assessment and find out what my leadership is like. Definitely, people.
Absolutely. In addition to the fire, there's earth, where these leaders are inspired by structure and organization, because when everything is running smoothly, it just makes the day go easier. Next is the air, and these are the leaders who are inspired by creativity, brainstorming. As the metaphor goes, they throw the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. They really love ideas. And lastly, it is the water element, and these are the leaders who are driven to bond. They really appreciate the friendships and relationships they make in the workplace. So these are the 4 elements. I encourage you to take it on my website. And the second way to reach me is through LinkedIn. I absolutely love conversations about leadership development, personal growth, professional success. So if you'd love to have conversations about that, feel free to reach out. I'm here for that.
Oh, that's super. So many golden nuggets already in that. Do you have any events coming up that people can obviously like go and see you speak and learn more as well?
Absolutely. Please feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Every once in a while, I will put in a webinar where I'll cover different topics on leadership, team building, and company culture.
Cool. So besides, doing all your business and everything, what else do you like doing in, for mindset? Because obviously mental health and wellness is obviously always in my mind, and that especially when we've got such a stressful world and that, I'm over here in Wales, the Warrior Cymru's here in Wales and that. It could be stressful with the climate and everything. So what about where you are and that? So how do you adjust to that?
Yes. So for me, I am passionate about health and fitness. I am actually a marathon runner. So growing up with asthma, that's been an especially valuable milestone that I've reached. Just taking it step by step, and then finally, when I reached the finish line of a 26.2-mile race, it really meant a lot to me. So
Yay! So that's so cool. So is that the furthest that you've run or walked?
I've done another ultra marathon, which is about 30 miles. I think that translates to 50 kilometers.
Wow, that's
So
really good. And that, so I guess, that keeps you really fit and focused on, the other stuff, which people, as we all know, exercise is really important for your mindset. And that, unfortunately, I can't do that sort of exercise. However, I myself are doing walking in September. The whole of September is walking 30 miles. Although I'm on crutches, and I'm just on one crutch now, I can still walk around the garden. I can still do the steps in the house, whatever. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to go miles, like down the road. I can still do it because as a caregiver, I've been there and could not go out. So I've learned to adapt exercise because it is important, isn't it, to combine that with leaderships. So how do you see the leaderships now? We've got all these Napoleon Hills coming out, everyone like that. There's so many different things. So how do you see leadership for the future now?
Bethan, I'm so glad you brought that question because I've been studying trends, and one trend that's been standing out is research from Professor Scott Page at the University of Michigan, and he mentioned that teamwork and collaboration, cooperation, it's going to be so much more important into the future because if you think about it, all the easy problems have already been solved. For example, the wheel, that's already been invented. 2 plus 2 equals 4. We know that. The car, that's already been invented. Now, when you look in the future, the issues and problems are becoming much more sophisticated and complex. For example, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, complicated. You look at artificial intelligence, it's becoming complicated. Cloud computing, complicated. So that's to say that no one person will be able to solve these new problems on their own. So it will take the value and importance of working with others to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Yeah, one of the things I was hearing earlier today is about our children, youngsters, and now I'm in my 60s now, and I'm, proud to say it. Hoo-hoo. But when we were in school, we didn't get taught certain things and that, about taxes and everything, and that we learned as we left school and college and everything. But they're not necessarily teaching that, in the schools and that, or outside. And I think that's important to teach our youngsters early how to manage money. The world, in Europe, I have a son in Europe and that who's trying to figure out, how to run bills and that in this world. And he's, in his 18 and that, and it's like, it's hard. I understand that, but we found it harder. And you've just got to try and find that money because it's about seasonal planning now. The climate is changing. We all know that. And as future leaders, we need to be aware how we're going to manage our money and, to have food, for energy and that, so that we can be the great leaders of the time and that.
That's right.
So
That's
what
right.
else would you like to bring to the audience today Have you been in any books? Are you looking to be in a book, or what are you looking to do for the future?
So yeah, speaking of books, I was invited to be a co-author for a collaboration book. So that should come in perhaps early 2025, but I will keep everyone updated. So continue to follow my journey, and then I'll keep you posted. But I'm very excited for it.
That is so exciting. So once again, Jessper, you've been an absolutely outstanding star today. This is just, as we all know, and my listeners, with the Warrior Cymru Cafe, this is just an introduction to Jessper. You're going to see lots more of him with him and I. We've got some great stuff coming up, but we won't let you into that secret today. You just need to look out for that. So absolutely astounding star. I love all that you do. Thank you for being my guest. Diolch yn fawr, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you, Bethan. Very excited to be with you today.